Hey, this is Canadian Saitama from Morituri eSports coming at you with another health-related video to kick off the week right and hopefully help you get more from it. Today's topic is going to be about why you might be feeling hungry all day long, the differences between hunger and thirst, along with the effects overeating has on your body. If you'll stick around for the next 10 minutes or so, I think I can help you better understand these topics while giving you a basis to apply them in your own life and ultimately achieve better results overall. One of our biggest drivers for eating is hunger, the feeling associated with survival and your body's inherent capacity to dictate a need for nutrition. Remember that I said nutrition and not calories, as it is important that I distinguish the two from here on out. Because of the lack of nutrients in our food, we often have difficulties recognizing the true state of satiety that once came so naturally to us as a species. The primary cause of this is likely the progressively increased volume of processed food in our lives. While our bodies have adapted for many years to digest whole foods, processed foods are still so new to us that we need time to properly evolve through adaptation to effectively digest processed foods. With unfamiliar signals being sent to the brain, by processed foods mind you, our body has become less effective at telling hunger and thirst apart. Usually when you eat, now this is referring to whole foods, the content is a variety of macro and micronutrients, along with water, which is arguably the most important nutrient, yet still considered a micronutrient. See, the problem lies in the fact that processing removes much of the things that make food truly good, and not just taste good. These things include, but are not limited to, fiber, moisture, protein, nutrients, bacteria, fats, germs, and the list goes on, along with adding things that are unnatural to that item, an example being high fructose corn syrup, or the 1,000 other names that brands use for sugar to try to confuse consumers. Lacking any real hydration, and accounting for the high content of diuretics in many processed foods, our body recognizes that food is being consumed, but it still assumes that it's whole food, and only after about an hour does it realize the nutrition content of said meal was insufficient to your functional needs. This is where you will feel hungry shortly after a meal, and you may actually be thirsty because the two are extremely close in terms of feel and only easily discernible by individuals who are already adequately nourished and hydrated in the first place. While you are on the path to proper nourishment, here are some signs to look out for to help you distinguish your feelings from one another, being thirst and hunger in these examples to come. Don't feel bad if you're mistaking the two currently, as the same part of the brain is responsible for interpreting both and is a very common problem people realize they have when beginning to take control of their health. If it has been more than 4 hours since your last meal, those hunger pains are most likely just that. Any less, and it's most likely thirst, or you ate significantly less nutrients than your body required during that time. Here's a snapshot of some more signs of hunger. Feelings of weakness, fatigue, headaches, a growling and or rumbling stomach, emptiness surrounding the abdominal area, irritability, moodiness, a loss of focus, squinting to see properly, slowed speech, cognitive decline, being that you just take longer to process things than you normally would. All of these signs will come on gradually if you are to experience them. But use these examples that I've given you to recognize them early so they don't become debilitating and prevent you from eating altogether, which will have its own set of adverse health effects unless approached properly through fasting. Now on the flip side of this coin is thirst. If you are thirsty, you have probably been drinking inadequately for a couple of days now, which you may be confusing with chronic hunger, and can be attributed to any overeating patterns you might be currently exhibiting. Here are some signs associated with thirst to pick out which you may be dealing with already. They include dry eyes, mouth and or throat, dark urine, nausea, dizziness, sluggishness, dry skin, constipation, and confusion. Drink throughout the day, regardless of whether you are thirsty or not, because like I mentioned before, you won't start to feel it until it's already been a day or two lacking adequate hydration. Here are some tips for you to try. Try taking a drink the next time you feel like eating. You may find that your hunger subsides. Separate drinking and eating. Not only will this preserve enzymes to properly digest your food, but it will condition your body to separate satisfying your hunger and thirst into different sittings, a step in the process of reconditioning your mind to distinguish the two sensations effectively once again. Now, if you're craving something, it doesn't really matter what it is that you eat, unless it is what you're craving. When we start eating healthy, these cravings tend to be unhealthy. My best advice is to just focus on gaming, exercise, socializing, school, reading, or just do anything else until the cravings subside. Trust me, this craving is not necessary to your survival, and you do not need to satisfy it. I believe that you're stronger than that. Let's talk the effects of overeating. Every time that you overeat, your stomach stretches out due to what we often call bloating. And after a while, that bloating will go down. Our stomach returns to normal, right? Well, sure, it's not bloated anymore, but it's slightly more expanded than before you overate, even if it's not noticeable to you at all. Trust me, with frequent overeating, your stomach will have a similar response as a rubber band. The more you stretch it, the less it comes back each time, until the band is no longer tight and is noticeably loose. When you think of your stomach lining as a rubber band, you can appreciate that someone with a distended gut simply has a loose band, likely due to overeating consistently. This is also present in bodybuilding for this reason and excessive drug use, but it's overeating for the average person. The more our body gets used to high caloric consumption, the more it will adapt to require a higher volume of it to perform activities of daily living. While an excess body fat percentage and a distended gut are usually one and the same, you'll know that athletes may eat poorly and of a higher volume than is required, yet still maintain those six-pack abs. This is due to the fact that while overeating and stretching out their stomach, their energy expenditure allows them to ward off adipose tissue accumulation, or more commonly known as stored fat. This is most likely another cause for your chronic hunger, as you are conditioning your body to consistently require more food by always giving it more than it needs. Your mind follows the pattern and adapts to make you think that you need an increased caloric consumption and that it's necessary for survival, so that it can justify why you keep doing it in the first place. Just remember, it's mind over matter, and take a test online to find your TDEE. This is your total daily energy expenditure, and monitor the calories you take in to prevent overconsumption in the future. Type in TDEE on Google, and there's going to be so many sites using the same mathematical formula, so there really is no site that's going to be better than one another. And since they're all just going to give you a ballpark anyways, consult a professional in nutrition studies to get a more precise assessment if that's what you're looking for. My recommendation is going to be bodybuilding.com TDEE calculator, so enjoy that. Also, use a calorie tracker like MyPlate, you can just get the app on your phone, to make the tedious chore of counting calories just a little bit more bearable. Well, that's all that I have for you guys today. Hope it can help you through this week. I'll let you guys know what my next video is going to be, but I just quickly want to shout out Morituri eSports for keeping me motivated to continue making content, and constantly testing me on my knowledge to contribute to my growth as a fitness manager for such an amazing and noble organization. Don't forget to like the video to see more, subscribe to keep up with all upcoming content from myself and other creators, and also hit that little bell to receive notifications as soon as our videos become public. So, next week is going to cover the topic of macronutrients, and hopefully I can dispel the plethora of myths that surround these seemingly simple 3 nutrients. Until then, ask more of yourself, your body, mind, and spirit. You'll be much better off because of it.